Hello and welcome to this week's MTV, where I have selected the word margin. You know, when you look at a piece of paper that has text written or typed on it, typically around the edges there's a margin. It gives space, it helps with the neatness of it. Maybe there's an opportunity to write notes or reminders in that margin. But that's what I want to talk with you about today. The fact that in our lives we also need a margin. You know, that allows us to have space to move and to flex and to change as is needed for the day-to-day requirements of our living. Some things that I would encourage you about having a margin in your life. The first is allow God to set that margin. You know, you can do that by spending time with Him in the morning, just asking Him to really set the course of your day, giving Him permission to interrupt so that you are able to accomplish what He desires for you to accomplish. The second thing is not scheduling every single moment of your day. When we put too many things on our schedule, we spend so much time running around trying to accomplish those things, we leave very little room for the interruptions that God very likely desires to bring into our day. Thirdly, be available. Look for opportunities to encourage, to give a smile to someone, to serve other people. And fourthly, we've got to act. If we see a need, then we need to choose to act and actually to see what we can do to fulfill that need. You know, recently I had scheduled a trip to Florida. The whole goal of that trip was to help a jeweler in her renewal show, as well as take care of a training show for one of our brand new family members in Premier. And I gave myself 6 days for the trip. I had several things that I desired to accomplish, but there were a couple of days that kept remaining open. And ultimately, what occurred is just before I left to go on that trip, I came to the realization that I needed to spend those 2 open days of my schedule driving over to Okeechobee, where my dad and my stepmom live, so that I would be able to serve them and take care of some needs that they had, and that I would then have the time to do. Now, had I have scheduled every single moment of my time while I was in Florida, it would have been very difficult or stressful for me to actually make those arrangements to go over. But you know what? Because I had said, God, I'm going to give you this time, and I didn't choose to, which my tendency, by the way, is to schedule every single moment that I am there. I was able to see that need and then to act on that need. And here is the thing that I want to share with you. You know, when you allow God to arrange your life, you go from living a natural life to a supernatural life. Why? Because we are limited in our time and our resources and what we are able to do, but God is limitless. Do you know that I had 3 or 4 different people that allowed me to borrow vehicles, that helped to take me to where I needed to go, that sacrificed that I would be able not only to fit that trip into Okeechobee, not only to serve that jeweler in her renewal show, and also to help that jeweler get her business started. All of those things were able to take place. And in addition to that, I was able to make some great connections with my other Premier family in the area. Not because of what I did, but because of what God did in the margin that He had given me in my time that I had there. I want to challenge you this week. Consider the margin that you have in your life, and then choose to allow God to set a margin. I'm going to call that your God margin, because when you choose to establish a God margin, you are going to give opportunity for God to transform your ordinary life into an extraordinary story. Thanks so much. Have a super week, and I look forward to seeing you back here on our next MTV. But wait, there's more. I forgot to share the passage of scripture that I had selected for the word margin, 2 Corinthians 9:8, and it says, "And God will generously provide all that you need. Then you will always have everything with some left over that you can share with others." Remember, when you feel limited, God is limitless. He can stretch your time, energy, and resources. Trust Him to do it. Allow Him to give you a God margin in your life, and then go out and look for ways that you can serve other people this week.